Welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we will learn about the topic condensation and precipitation under the paper atmospheric processes. After studying this module, the students shall be able to define and differentiate between condensation and precipitation. They will also understand various mechanisms by which the condensation and precipitation occur. They can identify various forms of precipitation or condensation, and they can also distinguish between them as well. They will know the importance of various forms of precipitation with respect to the environment. So, starting with the introduction, condensation is a process in which vapor form of water in the atmosphere gets converted into liquid state. In turn, precipitation on the other hand can also be defined as the phenomena of any liquid or solid forms of water falling from the sky. Both of these processes are integral part of the hydrological cycle and is very important to sustain the life on the earth. It may favorably or adversely influence the biota depending on the time and intensity of occurrence. Major requirement for both the processes to occur is the presence of high amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. So, let's discuss condensation in some more detail. Condensation is the very first stage of precipitation. The favorable factors for precipitation are saturation of the atmosphere with high moisture, low temperature, low wind or calm condition, and the presence of suspended particles like dust, pollutant molecules, etc. in the atmosphere. These are the favorable conditions. Occurs both in the near surface atmosphere and also at the greater heights of the atmosphere. The clouds contain high amount of condensed water droplets. Their updraft and downdraft cause particles to grow in size and ultimately they fall to the ground. The falling water droplet may acquire different shape and size depending on the mechanism of formation, cloud type and prevailing atmospheric conditions near the Earth's surface. Now moving on to the mechanisms of precipitation. Let's take each mechanism and discuss it in detail. The first is convective precipitation. This precipitation is based on the process of convection, process of transfer of heat through the movement of liquids and gases from warmer surface to the cooler area is called convection. As sun warms the earth's surface, the overlaying air is heated, which becomes lighter and begins to rise up in the atmosphere. Thus, we can say that convection occurs when the earth's surface in moist conditions become heated, which ultimately leads to evaporation. Coming to the phenomena of rain, the most common form of precipitation which occurs due to convection is rain, and thus its name is convective rain. This type of precipitation is produced by convective cloud, which is formed in vertical motions resulting from instability of the atmosphere by getting heated from the sun. This ultimately results in warming up of the ground, which heats the air above it and also causes moisture in the ground to evaporate. As the water vapor rises, it cools and condenses into clouds, and eventually it results in the fall of rain. The second mechanism is frontal precipitation. Frontal rain occurs due to generation of a front of air mass having different densities. Due to different densities of warm air mass and cold air mass, they don't mix when they meet. Instead, the less dense, warmer air is pushed up over the cold, dense air, resulting in the creation of warm front. As a result, the less dense warm air cools and the water vapor condenses into water and falls as raindrops. Starting with the warm fronts, these fronts are formed when warm air pushes out a previously lodged cold air mass. These are followed by longer periods of light rain and drizzle. Because the warm air above the cooler air gradually cools down due to the air's expansion, which forms clouds and leads to precipitation. Cold fronts, on the other hand, they occur when a mass of cooler air dislodges a mass of warm air. Transition is sharper since cold air is denser than warm air. Rain duration is shorter and generally more intense than that which occurs ahead of warm fronts. Third type is the occluded fronts. It is a composite front formed when a cold front overtakes a warm front and forces it upward. Wide variety of weather can be found along an occluded front. Thunderstorms can occur, but usually their passage is associated with drying of air mass. The third and the last mechanism is orographic precipitation. Orographic rain, also called as the relief rainfall, occurs when moist air is forced upward by a terrain. It is caused when wind pushes the masses of air up the side of elevated land formation, for example, large mountains. This lifting of the air up the mountain slope results in adiabatic cooling, which in turn leads to condensation followed by the precipitation. Mountainous regions have relatively consistent winds. The weather on the windward side of the mountain is more moist than on the leeward side. Moisture is removed by orographic lift, which leaves drier air on the descending, which is generally warming, leeward side where the rain shadow is observed. Now coming to the next section, it is the types of precipitation. So there are mainly two types of precipitation, the liquid type and the solid or freezing type. The figure on the right hand side shows different types of precipitation reaching the grounds, which depend on vertical temperature structure of the layer of air between cold base and the ground. So let's discuss the first type of precipitation, which is liquid precipitation. Most common form of precipitation is rain. It reaches the earth's surface in the form of water drops, which are greater than 0.5 mm in diameter. When water vapor in the cloud condenses around the condensation nuclei, which can be dust particles, tiny droplets of liquid water are formed, which eventually get big enough for the cloud to hold, and finally it falls towards the ground. Droplets grow larger and larger as they collect more water on their way down to the earth's surface. When the water droplets in the cloud get mixed with the pollutants, for example sulfur oxides, nitrous oxides, it produces acid rain. Because of strong acid reaction of such raindrops, it injures or kills plants and pollutes water sources. Nimbostratus, altostratus, stratocumulus, altocumulus, etc. are often considered as rain-bearing clouds. Rainfall intensities. According to Indian Meteorological Department, a day is said to be a rainy day when the total rainfall received during the 24-hour duration is 25 millimeters or more. IMD has defined terms and their respective limits quantifying the hourly intensity distribution and intensity over a region. The table, it shows the classification of rainfall intensities. Rainfall is said to be of trace level if rainfall threshold is less than 2 mm per hour. Similarly, when rainfall threshold is more than 7.6 mm per hour, rain is categorized as heavy rain. The table 2, it shows the rainfall distribution over a region, which is usually a meteorological subdivision. Widespread or most places, rainfall distribution is said to have occurred when 75% or more number of stations report less than or equal to 2.4 mm of rain. When no station reports any rain, it is said to be mainly dry. Coming to the next type, it is drizzle. It consists of very small water droplets which range from 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters falling from low-level stratus clouds. These droplets are larger than droplets in the cloud but smaller than raindrops, drift slowly to the ground. This form of precipitation continues for sufficiently longer durations, accumulating at the rate of 1 mm per hour. Stratus and stratocumulus are often considered as drizzle-bearing clouds. The next type is showers. Precipitation falling from a vertically developed cloud is called showers. The diameter of water drops in a shower is 5 mm or more, often characterized by shorter duration with rapid fluctuations of intensity compared to that of drizzle. The pictorial representation of drizzle and showers are shown in the figures on the right hand side. The second type of precipitation is solid or freezing type precipitation. It comprises of snow, sleet, freezing rain, freezing drizzle, hail, ice pellets, snow grains, graupel and diamond dust. The first subcategory is snowflakes. Snow is formed when tiny snow crystals in clouds aggregate together to become opaque or semi-opaque snowflakes at sub-zero temperature. They vary in size from very small to large feather-like forms and stick together when the temperatures are marginal to create snow. In humid conditions, the flakes become larger. When enough crystals stick together, it will gain weight and become heavy enough to fall on ground. High wind speeds tend to keep these flakes from sticking to one another. A combination of heavy snow and strong winds cause blizzard. This occupies the multiple reflections by heavy snow and low clouds that make the sky and ground undistinguishable from an associated phenomena which is called as whiteout. The snow reaches Earth's surface when the temperature profile in troposphere is at or below the freezing point. When near freezing temperatures prevail with light winds and unstable convective atmosphere conditions, larger and irregular flakes ranging to 5 centimeters they can be formed. The most beautiful traditional snowflakes are generally seen during the Christmas decorations. Each type forms in a unique combination of temperatures and humidity in the atmosphere. The figures on the right hand side show snow and macro snowflakes. The next subtype is ice pellets. These are spherical in shape or at times they are irregular and have diameter which is less than 5 millimeters, formed when snowflakes start melting as they fall from the cloud and then fall through the sub-freezing air when they refreeze into grain-like particles, smaller than hailstones and bounce when they hit the ground. They accumulate on the ground, forming a smaller, denser covering which becomes hard to clear away. It occurs in brief showers from tall cumulus clouds during winter months. The figures on the right hand side show different forms of ice pellets. The next subtype is freezing rain. Freezing rain occurs when falling snow meets a layer of warm air in which snow completely melts and becomes rain. Falling rain passes through a thin layer of cold air just above the surface and cools to a temperature below freezing. These drops do not freeze but form a supercooled drop which when strike the frozen grounds, for example tree branches, cars or streets etc., they instantly freeze, forming a thin film of ice which is referred to as freezing rain. The next subtype is sleet. Frozen raindrops or melted snowflakes that bounce on the impact with the ground or any other objects are called sleet. The phenomena mainly seen in Australia and United Kingdom. Sleet is formed when droplets are falling from warm air mass through a cold layer. It is a mixture of rain and snow or hail. Sleet bounces when it strikes to the ground, but the freezing rain does not. The figure on the right hand side shows the sleet formation. The next subtype is freezing drizzle. It is formed of liquid precipitation whose drops are less than 0.5 millimeter in diameter, but they freeze once they strike the Earth's surface. Coming to the next subtype, it is the hail. The solid precipitation in the form of balls or pieces of ice which are called the hailstones with the diameter ranging from 5 to 50 millimeter or even more. Hails can be extremely dangerous as it can cause extensive damage in only a matter of few minutes. The size of hails vary depending upon the severity of the weather condition or the intensity of the accompanying thunderstorms. Hails form whenever the minute atmospheric objects including dust or particles in the air, they collide with the supercooled water. Once the water freezes around the object, it begins to form an ice pellet. The duration these ice pellets stay in the cloud determines how large the hails will be formed when they reach the ground. Due to the updrafts in the convective clouds, Ice pellets are tossed up and down, adding layers and layers of ice until they become too heavy for the updraft to lift further up. When they become too heavy, they tend to fall to the ground and due to the gravity as hail or hailstorm. At times, the size can be as big as a golf ball, softball or even larger. While hail may or may not precede a tornado, large hails often appear near the area within a thunderstorm where tornadoes are most likely to form. The figures below show the comparison between the hails of different sizes. They can be as small as marble and as large as a tennis ball. Coming to the next subtype, which is snow grains. These are very small form of solid precipitation and consist of small grains of ice. These remain as they are without much accumulation and considered to be the solid equivalent to drizzle. The next subtype is diamond dust, which is also called as the ice crystals. Small ice crystals that float with the wind include the diamond dust. Diamond dust consists of extremely small ice crystals usually formed at low levels and at temperatures below -30°C. The next subtype is graupel. It is same as hail, but the diameter is less than 5 mm. It forms when snow in the atmosphere encounters supercooled water. Ice crystals form instantly on the outside of the snow, which is called the rime coating, and accumulate until the original snowflake is no longer visible or it is distinguishable. The striking difference between graupel and hail is that graupel pellets typically fall apart when they hit the ground. On the other hand, hail is formed when the layers of ice accumulate and as a result those are very hard. The next subtype is glaze. Glaze is a layer of clear ice formed on the sub-freezed surface upon the impact of large supercooled droplets which tend to spread on it before freezing, forming a coating of an ice. The glaze may thaw quickly or may stay for few days, making difficult to walk and drive by the city dwellers. The figure shows the formation of glaze. The third subsection of this module is the precipitation mechanisms, the theoretical approach. There are two main precipitation mechanisms. The first mechanism is the Bergeron-van Duysen process. It is based on the two facts: coexistence of water vapor, ice crystals and supercooled liquid water droplets from 0 to -40°C of temperature, differential values of saturation vapor pressure. The processes of ice crystals growth in cold clouds occur in mixed phase clouds. The supercooled droplets meet the freezing nuclei where the ambient vapor pressure falls between the saturation vapor pressure over water and the lower saturation vapor pressure over ice, thus creating a supersaturated environment for liquid water but an unsaturated environment for ice. This leads to rapid evaporation of liquid water and rapid ice crystal formation through vapor deposition. Ice crystals can grow large enough to fall out of the cloud, melting into raindrops if lower level of temperatures are warm enough. The second mechanism is collision coalescence process. The collision coalescence process is an important mechanism in forming of raindrops in warmer clouds, which are warmer than -15°C of temperature. These clouds contain a variety of droplets. Uniformly small droplets tend to move at the same speed in the cloud, but when mixed with a larger one, the hygroscopic nuclei of slow-moving droplets encourage collisions and amalgamations. Coming to the fifth part of the module, it is the forms of condensation. It is a fact that not all forms of condensation and precipitation fall from the clouds. The first type is fog and mist. The phenomena of small droplets suspended in air causing obscurity in the surface layers and reducing visibility to 1 km or less, just a cloud occurring at the ground level, is created by water condensing around dust particles low to the ground instead of high in the air. The key difference between the two is how far the objects can be seen through them. When the visibility is 1 kilometer or less, it is called as fog, whereas it is referred to as mist when the visibility is more than 1 kilometer. Mist is typically quicker to dissipate and can rapidly disappear with even slight winds. The figure shows typical fog and mist formation. The second subtype is dew. Water droplets which result from the condensation of water vapor in air onto the surface whose temperature is reduced below the dew point of air in contact with it. The temperature at which the condensation starts is called dew. It forms on the objects on the ground like leaves, cars and windows instead of dust particles in the air. The third subtype is called as frost. It is the icy deposits which may form on the ground and on objects when the temperature of the air in contact with the ground or ground frost or at thermometer screen level is below the freezing point of water. The top figure shows the dew drops on the glass blades, while the bottom figure it shows the frost on lawn grass field. The next subtype is haze. Haze is an atmospheric phenomena where dust, smoke and other dry particles obscure the clarity of sky. This figure shows a typical haze formation. The next subtype is smog. When fog becomes polluted with smoke and particulates, especially from burning of coal or straw left over in the agricultural field, it is referred to as smog. Smog occurs when high concentration of moisture is combined with the smoke, which contains oxides of sulfur and nitrogen under relatively high temperatures or thermal inversions coupled with the absence of wind. Generally in urban and rural areas, smog frequently occurs, reducing the visibility to a considerable extent. Coming to the next section, let's discuss about the impact of condensation and precipitation on our environment. The precipitation as rain and drizzle are useful for plants and agricultural crops. But heavy rain can cause mechanical injuries to standing field crops. They wash out nutrient-rich topsoil and drown the roots, causing the stress. The freezing temperatures of snow and sleet can cause significant damage to plants and also the standing crops. At times, snow may provide some insulation when the air is very cold. Hail can cause heavy mechanical damages to a variety of surfaces like cars, homes, crops, etc. In India, apple orchards of Himachal Pradesh are particularly vulnerable due to high frequency of hail events in the region. Fog may cause significant reduction in visibility, thereby hampering the vehicular mobility. Fog and dew are sometimes congenial for certain disease, pest development in plants. For water-scarce region, dew can become important source of water for agriculture. Now, as we have come to the end of this module, we will summarize the chapter by revising some points discussed previously. Condensation and precipitation are integral part of the hydrological cycle and significantly affect the human and environment. While condensation is the change of the state of water in the atmosphere from vapor to liquid phase, precipitation is the process when liquid or solid forms of water fall from the cloud or sky. There are three distinct ways that precipitation can occur. These are convective precipitation, frontal precipitation and orographic precipitation. Different forms of precipitation can be grouped into two types, that is liquid precipitation and solid precipitation. Rain, drizzle and showers are the liquid forms, whereas snow, sleet, freezing rain, freezing drizzle, hail, ice pellets, snow grains, graupel and diamond dust are the solid forms. Haze, mist, fog, smog and dew are different forms of condensation. Fog is just like a ground level cloud. Fog and mist are differentiated on the basis of visibility. This will be all in this module. Thank you.